Well, we should be live, and I should be a cat, I think. Let's see here. Am I getting a transmission? Yes, we're getting a transmission. I'm a cat. Okay, so in this video, I'm a cat. So, welcome to Coding Mitta. I'm Cord Campbell. Today I'm a cat, and so I can't figure out how to turn this filter off. So, if you haven't seen the news, the lawyer is a cat. I think that's the news. I'm not a cat. He says he's not a cat, but I'm definitely a cat in this video, so I'm not denying I'm a cat. I'm definitely a cat in this video, so we're going to be coding today as a cat, and I like that a lot. And I only have a little bit of time. This is some random plugin I got off Steam, so he kind of does weird things, like if you move his head around. Let's see if I can find. Here's the code. So you can see me, right? It's tracking my face, but then I don't know, like if I put my mug in front of my face, then he does kind of weird things. It's kind of random. Let's see here. Sometimes he jerks his head around. Will it track that? No. Nothing. And his head movements are kind of wild. Anyway. Hello, goodbye. Now I'm just a cat. Okay, so yesterday, oh crap, I forgot to do the thumbnail. I gotta do the thumbnail. I'll show you how to do my thumbnails. So you go in, I don't know, canva.com, that's where I go. And I just do, this is what I do every single time. Just because it works. I have no complaints. Does exactly what I need it to do. So I just kind of adjust this thing over here so it sort of looks like the rest of them that I've done. And then I put coding with a cat. That's the theme today. And then I forget, what did I call this one? In which a cat codes. So Coding Mitta. And let's see, episode, good lord, what is it, 12? Yeah! And then, you gotta get rid of this thing. It's kind of weird, I'm like, usually aware of the fact that I'm being looked at, but here I'm a cat, so it doesn't matter. In which a cat codes. Yeah, that's the name of the episode. Why not? In which a cat codes. Alright. So today we're finishing up on the index methods. Hopefully we're finishing up on the index methods. I sure hope so. Alright, coding with a cat. Where's my edit button? Come on, YouTube! Alright. Coding with a cat. Let's see, downloads here. Coding with a cat. Alright, let's see, did I take that? Yep. Which cat codes, okay. Alright, we're set there. I don't have, let's see, I usually put, or I say I usually, yesterday I put this chat on my phone. So let's see if I can do that again. Oh yeah, here, it's already live. Okay, great news. I've got it, and I didn't take very long, and I'm a cat. Yeah. What's going on with his head? It's kind of hard to tell. I don't know, I guess I'm leaning down. I don't know. I think this looks okay. What is... His head is flopping around an awful lot. Let me check on it in OBS Studio and see what's going on. I guess that looks okay. My mouth is moving. And I'm blinking. Oh well. Seems to be good enough. There's a timer on it. It's going to run out here in a minute. Like an hour. So I'll probably turn from a cat into a crazy old man. All right. So yesterday we ended up, excuse me, we ended up messing around with settings because we got an error here. What is this? Excuse me, I got all choked up all of a sudden. It's a hairball. The browser proxy sent a request that this server could not understand key error images. Oh, you know what? That's from the upload. I tried to upload something yesterday. So this is an interesting stream because I've literally done nothing since I turned the stream off, so I haven't coded at all. So we're just going to jump right back into it. So it's essentially a continuance of yesterday. Let's see here. What do we got? So that should say you're trying to delete something that doesn't exist. So let's just make sure things are working here. So we're going to go in and let's ask for all of the indexes or the sidekicks that we have. And let's do that by doing just a GET request. So we've got 2 of them and they have no documents. So that looks fine. So what do we need to do now? Let's get rid of this split screen thing. And I don't need AppYAML. I'm going to need Solr. I'm going to probably need models. Probably don't need those right now. And let's get rid of the API. So we have pushed. So I always like to just check things in the morning, and usually what happens is, I hope that's still big enough. Usually what happens is, number one, I get logged out because I have the login times set to 6 hours, so it'll log me out. And that's just for testing. I think I'm probably going to put the logins for like 3 days or something like that. My code is 465. 404, how appropriate. All right, so I'm logged in, and I do see that the search index contains 1,150 documents. So that's great because that means the indexer is running, so we don't have to go start that today. We're not getting any search results, so why is that? Okay, we're okay. So it's just, I guess if we look for today, we're only going to get a couple. Yeah, there we go. All right. So we're searching a little bit. If the cat does weird things, it's because I'm doing something with my face, like covering it with a mug or something. If he stretches his head around or something like that, he's just sort of random. He moves a little bit too much, in my opinion. Okay, so what do we need to do? I always go in here and I take a gander at the instructions, and the instructions are currently reside in the APIs, and I'm just moving through these slowly but surely. It takes forever. I actually wrote this document over a period of like 2 weeks. I had this ticket. I closed the ticket the other day. I was quite excited to close the ticket. But I had a ticket that basically said write the docs, and it was also a ticket that indicated that there needed to be an architecture of the APIs, there was no architecture, no API architecture at all. It just sort of randomly hacked together a bunch of stuff, which you've seen some of the code for that has being replaced slowly but surely. And then I just work out this document. I just start at the top and just move my way down the document, implementing these things, and then as I go, copying in what is actually output from an actual query into the examples. Sorry, I'm coughing so much today. I'm just a little bit of cat hair, hairballs. So we've got this delete thing done for the sidekick, but it's not deleting the index. I think I'm okay with that for now. I actually might just leave it like that. I'm not going to do it today, for sure. I'm not going to do it. I'll go back later and delete the index. I mean, it's kind of a problem with. Yeah, we don't want that. It's kind of a problem with. If we go over to Google and we take a gander at our data store entities. So this is the thing that this NDB thing. That's this thing. So they call this data store. So it's NDB data store. There's a whole bunch of connectors for this, so you can do it with Python. You can talk to it with Ruby, whatever you want to talk to it with. They've got a whole bunch of solutions there. So we're dealing with sidekicks. Well, these sidekicks are just indexes. So this is really, I mean, if we were to name this, it's actually just a list of indexes that we have. And then it's got the user ID in here. So that's my user ID. And then this is my index. So one of the problems that I was thinking about this morning before coming in here was that I need to be able to tell it, hey, use that index whenever the user logs in. And you can see here I've got it mocked up to where at the top of this it says ugly asparagus rattlesnake. So that's just hard-coded in there. So if we go in here and look at the shell, we're just got it hard-coded in there. But the whole idea is if I'm using an index, that what I want to do is be able to select an index. So I need some way of selecting an index from here. Now in the APIs, I've got a way to select the index. Because here I'm actually saying send it to the index here. So when I'm typing, I need to be able to address a particular index, but I need to be able to remember that I have that index selected. So where am I going to put that? And I'm like, well, I'll put it in settings. So that's where we're going to put it, is in settings. So we'll have something like this. I think the reason that I'm sorry about keep clearing my throat, it's not really a hairball. I think it's this banana smoothie. It's a little cold. Okay, so in settings, what I can do is I can say, let's see, I put my variable name starts with a $, and then maybe I want to say sidekick here equals, and then that's going to be the sidekick name. So if we look at our entity data store, we've got Sleepy Aqua Toad, for example. And then we would go in here and we'd say, okay, so the sidekick is, oops. The sidekick is, I need to fix that. So it quits putting that in there. Token? Didn't I just log in? Oh, this is localhost. Okay, let me try that again. So I put a $, to set the variable, and then I think I want to call this sidekick. And then we want it equal to Sleepy Aqua Toad. Okay, so when it says it back to me, that should indicate that I have it set. And so now I'm going to go get a list of my settings. And I should see that somewhere in here. There it is right here. I guess I need to delete the rest of these, huh? I guess it doesn't matter, but I'm going to delete them anyway. So P, and then I want foobar 6. Hey! And then Control A, and then what do I need to do here? I need to do a -X delete. I think that should do it. And then I want to delete all these subsequent ones. So foobar 6, did I do 7? Probably. I guess it's going to take a minute or two. Here I am doing it manually again. It's good, it's for testing. This is how you find things. Find lots of errors fiddling around with stuff, especially working on APIs. So if we run that again, we should get a none type out. Yep. IE, yeah, it's not there anymore. Okay, let's get a list again. What do we have left? Foobar 0, foobar 9, foobar 2. Foobar 9. It's good to actually be using the settings for something. I was like, I'm going to code this up and then I hope I use it. Well, what do we want? We did foobar 2, 9, and 0. Okay. We can also do that in the shell. I forgot about that. So like just settings? Yeah, so it's just settings. So yeah, so the sidekick is now set to Sleepy Aqua Toad. So then that's going to tell us that when sidekick, so when that is set to Sleepy Aqua Toad, then what's going to happen is it should say Sleepy Aqua Toad up here, right there. And it should also, the sidekick should be called Sleepy Aqua Toad. So this is the sidekick name, so this should change to say Sleepy Aqua Toad as well. But then if I set sidekick, I need to check. Yeah, I need to check to see if, I don't know. Like what if I say to use a sidekick that doesn't exist? What do I do? That's an interesting one. So like there's a setting specific thing. When I say setting specific thing, like there's a setting specific check that whenever you set a setting. So here I'm returning a setting. Here I'm creating or updating a single setting. Grab the setting from the DB method. How's my cat doing? It's looking good. It's hanging out in some van out in the forest. It's pretty funny. Okay, so the problem here is what we want to do is when we say sidekick equals Sleepy Aqua Toad, we want to actually check that we have a Sleepy Aqua Toad. So sidekick is sort of a reserved word, if you will, but that needs to be, it needs to be set to, should I make it a reserved one? I mean, we've done that with other stuff, but then we're going to have to remember it somewhere. So we have to remember, the user has to remember somehow which one it's using from the shell. And the shell is like these settings are for the shell, essentially. They're for the shell to use, I should say. Not that they couldn't be used by other things, but it's primarily for the shell. The settings in the shell, so. Oh boy. I mean, I could just blow it off and you could set it to whatever you want, and then if you run it, it'd say, well, there is no index named Sleepy Aqua Toad. For example, I have a Sleepy Aqua Toad, but then, so do I want, maybe that's what I do here, is I just go, okay, well, I'll just have a special, I'm going to have a special case. Well, let me think about this. So if it's a special case, well, it could be existing. So if I update the existing sidekick, then that's going to get updated, and it's going to put it. It's going to put the value in there, and it's going to put it, and then update it. And then the new setting stuff is not going to run, and then it's going to go down here, and it's going to return the stuff. So what I could do is I could do it down here. I could say right here, check the sidekick setting is one of current users' sidekicks. I was just watching my other video and I was watching myself talk about how to figure out how to do things and like what's the right way to do this. I mean, there is no right way to do this. I mean, there's probably someone somewhere has thought about this problem like 5 times. But I mean, and the problem defined would be, okay, you implement one API with some method, and then you update another method. Like, so for example, we've created these objects called sidekicks, which are indexes. And then you say, oh, I have this other feature, and it uses, like you're going to use it to say which one of those to use. And then you're like, well, what's a good way to do that? And then you have to come in here, and you could put the check in here. You know what we could do is whenever you're creating an index, like here. Like when you're creating index, you could say, well, I want you to use this index. You could tell the system, every time I do a query, I want the default index to be this index. But then we don't really need to do that with the APIs because you can address the indexes individually. So the setting is supposed to be like this lightweight thing that the UI, you can put the UI in this mode. So I mean, I had earlier something like CC, which was change collection or change core, and then you could put in sleepy aqua toad here, right? And that seemed like that was probably an okay solution because you just tell it, hey, set that. And I probably do want to do that. I probably want something like that. Maybe we could just say something like sidekick. We could just do that, and then that would switch it to Sleepy Aqua Toad. But then, really, what it does is it just sets the setting. But at the end of the day, if you ran that code, if you ran this, then it does some query to some non-API endpoint, right? Then what's really happening there is you have to go set it somewhere. You have to store it in the database. Well, where would we store it? We have users. I always hate showing the users, but I'm going to do it anyway. That's fine. So you've got this, set of stuff that you've got in here for a user. So you could save it in here. You could say, well, as the default index for this user is, whatever, right? Ugly asparagus rattlesnake or whatever, right? But then you're saving that in the user setting, and it's not really the user doesn't really have anything to do with whatever the user might be doing via the APIs, for example. Like what context does that have in the context of the APIs? Well, like phone codes and stuff like that don't really have any context with the APIs either, although the API token does. So there are things stored at like the phone number and stuff like that for being able to SMS somebody, or maybe you're going to store, like what the Slack endpoint is in here and stuff like that. So those are sort of user-centric things, but this is more of I feel like more of a UI-centric thing. It's like I'm in this UI, I want to talk to a particular index. So right now I'm talking air quote. I can't air quote anything here. Air quote. This index here, right? But this is just something I've made up and put in here for now. And so what we're going to do is replace it with this name here. But the whole idea is you're chatting to a particular entity in here, and you need to be able to switch to another entity. You have 3 entities that you can talk to. So I think it's fine to leave it in here as a setting. I feel like the settings are sort of like this wildcard thing that if you need to set something for a user, and the user needs to be able to toggle it themselves. Like the API tokens and mail tokens and things like that, those are rotated whenever you log in. So typically, so I think that in this case, what I want to do is just allow the user to set them with the settings, which is why I created the settings. And so I think it's okay. I've kind of talked through it, and it seems like it's a good idea. So now I'm going to proceed with implementing it. So what do we have to do that? So see here, I'm going to need a sidekick command, so I'm going to create that real quick so I don't forget about it. While it's on my mind, so I'm going to go into commands and I'm going to do new file and I'm going to do sidekick.js. I'm going to save that, and then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say controller report and then in sidekick. Maybe I'll say wood sidekick. There we go. Now I'm going to run this again, and it says wood sidekick. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to go back into settings, and when we set settings, so sidekick, this thing can make a call to settings. So we don't have to have settings check it, we can just have the sidekick check it. The sidekick command check it. That's what we're going to do. So even though you could do something like this, so you could go in here and say this. Maybe we make it where it's reserved. We got another problem is, like, what if you come in and you don't have a sidekick? We got to create you a sidekick. Because before, when you logged in and you got a sidekick, the index was based on your user ID. So that user ID was always there, but now we have a situation where when there's a new user, they need a sidekick. They need at least one. Okay, so we have a whole host of problems here. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm not going to put this in here. This is not the place for it. Which is sort of what I was leaning toward earlier. It was like, this is not the place for it. So I kind of need, what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to do a to-do list. Just so that I can keep track of stuff here. So the first thing I need to do is I need to implement a sidekick JS command for setting the current sidekick. And that's for listing or setting the current sidekick. I think I'm not going to get to the index methods today. I'm feeling like that I've just created a lot of work for myself. That's okay. We need to do this. There needs to be a way to switch around, otherwise I'm not going to be able to test it. I could do API calls, but that's not any fun when I can't do it in the shell. Okay, so the second thing is that I need to do is I need to check that a sidekick exists. And the third thing I need to do is, actually the zeroth thing I need to do is I need to give create a new sidekick. A new sidekick for a user on login if they don't have one. And that's because we have users that don't have sidekicks. I have sidekicks because I created one, but we have users that don't have sidekicks. So what needs to happen is if they authenticate, if they log in, and user or not. So if the session is true, then we need to check to see if they have a sidekick. And that's the place it gets done. This is the auth library. That's the entirety of it. I'm going to be open sourcing this. So it's passwordless authentication for AppEngine, basically. Just uses email and SMS. Okay, so, and by the way, I use Twilio exclusively, so if Twilio is not a sponsor of this. I've known a bunch of people at Twilio. I've talked to the CEO before, and when they were little, used to go over there and hang out a bit, did some server stuff for them, OpenStack stuff, whatever. But they're pretty good. I like them, and I use them. So they do email and SMS, so the system uses Twilio. So There's no reason to use anything else. Not at least right now. So I think what's going to happen is right here in this login is what we need to do is we need to say where do we go when we're logging in? So here it says if current user or not. I don't know. I think this is the command that actually logs the user in. That's from the token. And that's flash login. So log the user in there, log the user in there, and log the user in there. I feel like that's the wrong code. So we've got 3 places they get logged in. So they get logged in here by giving us a good token. We log them in here if they paste in a token, a good token, and we log them in here if they log in with their phone. Now we do have a couple of people with their phone numbers in there, so we do want to make it to where they get a sidekick at this point. So do I really want to do it in auth is the question. Do I want to be creating these things in auth? What if I checked here instead? So instead of checking there, I check here. Because if you log in, you're taken to the shell. So this particular, you're going to come in here no matter what. You're going to come in here if you stick Mitta.us on the front of some domain name and mark it and send it in, then you know, like to image it, then you're going to end up here too. Well, there's where I set the sidekick ID right there. So that's why this is exactly where I need to handle it, is right here, because it's a shell thing. So, and this is the shell. This is the thing that's serving it up, and then I'm not messing around with auth. And what I can do is I can check here. So what I need to do is I need to see if the setting is set. So that's the first thing I need to do. So I need to say on settings, I need to get the settings. So I need to get by user ID and name. So I need to call get by user ID and name. Here in shell. Or what was I changing in here? Okay, did I save that? Is that working? It's working. Okay. So what I need to do in here is I need to say sidekick setting equals settings, right? Settings dot get by user ID and name, and then I need to pass in the user ID, which is this thing. And then the name of the setting, in which case it's sidekick. And if not sidekick setting, then we need to see if we have a sidekick. So then we want to do, I guess we want to get them all, don't we? Yeah, that's what we want to do. So then what we want to do is we want to say sidekicks equals sidekick dot get all. Yeah, is that what we want? Get all. That's the setting, but it doesn't matter. It's the same thing here. And then that's being called with the same thing. Can I paste that? Yep. So that'll get all our sidekicks. So if the sidekick setting is not set, then get all the sidekick settings. And then maybe that's what I need. I need to do that anyway, right? I need all the sidekicks anyway. So maybe I'll do the sidekicks first. So I'll get all of their indexes. Which are their indexes. And then I'm going to get the current suggested side, current default sidekick for the shell. And then what we want to do is we want to say, I have a report of an interesting article. MI acquires portrait of early bot president. Okay, so that's what we're going to search for. MI acquires a portrait of an early, I don't even know what this means. Hopefully it's not porn. I don't know. I don't see it, Joe. Oh, here it is right here. I have no idea what this does. Let's save it though. Let's see if it works. I hope it works. I'm a cat. At least I think I'm still a cat. Looks like I'm still a cat. Come on, baby. Yes! And then redirect. Bam! Alright, well, I'll read it later. Okay, so back to work. So what we want to do is we want to say if not sidekick setting. So if there is no sidekick setting, how do we delete the sidekick setting in here? I can't remember. I think it's just putting an equal sign. Okay. Well, sidekick is now nothing. Did I implement delete? I think it did. There we go. Well, where's my email address? Does it not work if I don't have my if my oh dear. All right, so now something else is broken. Okay, so 3 show email address in settings when there are no settings. Nope, I don't want to save that. All right, so why is it doing that? So this is, let's look. So we're going to go in here and inspect this, and then we're going to go to network, and we're going to clear this out, and then we're going to request the settings, and you can see nothing comes back. And what's the response? There's my email. Well, so it's in there. So it's got to be, the problem has to be inside of settings. Settings. Right here. The list of your settings follows. Control report each, data settings, index setting. control report, sidekick, setting name, setting value. I mean, is this not working? Doesn't seem to be working. It's not even scrolling. So this function is failing? You know what? It could be. Could it? Could it be? There's the response, and what's the header say? It's application JSON. Does this validate? It doesn't validate. It's got a comma right there. So this is not valid. Yeah, see, there's an error right there. Doesn't like that. So we got to get rid of that. Well, that's good to know. Oh boy, this thing's kind of faked, honestly. I know what I can do. That's not gonna work. Let me think about this. The whole problem's right here. Well, I can just put the comma after this. Is it that easy? Please be that easy. Brilliant. Okay, and this one's done. No, I don't want to save it. Alright, so that's saved. Let's close that. And we're in settings, so we want to take this out. Yep. So the question is, like, do we want, it seems like the sidekick should be managed by a separate command other than, it's still a setting, but maybe we just let the user set it. I don't know. The problem is if we use settings to set it, like this, then if we do sidekick to set it, then that's just going to run it. That's just going to run it itself. What I need to do is I need to limit the ability for somebody to post to it. Like, it should be returned. It should be returned. Where? Here? Should it be returned in here? Kind of like my email? Let's see, where is the settings? See, it's like hard coded. So this could be another one. So I could just do another one right here. So I could say comma. I could put it in there, and then I can say this is like that. Be right back. Gotta move the mic. Okay, touching the mic just a little bit here, sorry. A little noisy probably when I do that. How's the cat doing? We've got 25 minutes on the cat. Hey Siri, set a timer for 25 minutes.
Okay, 25 minutes and counting.
It's the cat timer. So if we do this, that's not going to work because then we'd have to set that setting somewhere else. This thing's set somewhere else. So then all of a sudden we're getting back into the problem I described earlier, which is I'd have to save it somewhere else, and I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to put it in here as something that people can change. But the preferred command to change it would be sidekick, I think. Because if we have a separate, otherwise we could just put it in settings. That's what we're going to do. We don't need this. I don't think we need a sidekick command. We might. If we want to delete a sidekick, we're just gonna, how would we do that? Well, what's help say here? Because we have this method in here for deleting. So we're creating and deleting a sidekick. So we can create a new one. We can delete it. We should be able to set it to our default in here. We could do something like index create or something like that. But I think it's sidekick. So we are going to keep the sidekick. We do need that. We need this command. So I guess the thing that we're going to implement then is the method for setting it to default. We also need one where it's created. So we got to do let me go back to our to-do list. So create a new sidekick for a user on login. So we're going to do that in shell. Implement a sidekick. Okay, so we're doing that. And then check that a sidekick exists when setting sidekick settings. I think that makes sense. Okay, so we're in the shell and we're going to say if there's not a sidekick setting, in other words, if there's no entry called sidekick, then we're going to need to make one. And let's see here what we need to do here to make one. So we need to call create. Oh, sorry, that's setting. Setting, create, the name, and the value. Actually, what we could do is we could set the methods. And then we could start checking the methods. So we could set the methods to the sidekick as only gets. And we'd have to do an end run around it where they couldn't update it via a post. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna leave that alone for now. So I'm gonna run the setting create command here. So if there is no sidekick setting, then I'm gonna do, well, I need to check if there's sidekicks. So if, oh boy, okay, let's see here. If not, if when sidekicks equals 0, so there are no sidekicks, then we want to create a sidekick. And I think that's all we do with that. Let's see here. create is called with user ID. Alright, so then it will create one and it's going to return it to us. So we call this like default sidekick. We do need a default sidekick, so this is going to become the sidekick. So then we're going to get the default sidekick for this shell. We're going to try to get the default sidekick for the shell. And then if it says if not sidekick setting and sidekick setting dot value is not equal to the default, default sidekick dot name. I think all of this needs to be done. I want to move this guy. This all needs to be done with client context. We've probably crashed by now because I saved that. Let's see here. Oh look, I'm a cat. Yeah. We'll be okay. We'll come back to that here in a second. Get back over there. PowerShell. Okay, so what we're saying is if there are no sidekicks, then create a new sidekick. We need to say create a sidekick. And then I guess what we need to do at that point is we need to say we're not really updating it here. We can either create it or we can get all of them, or we can get one or we can create it. So we can read it or we can create it. So in this case we've already tried to get it, and we don't have any sidekicks. We don't have any indexes, which is unfortunate. And then what's going to happen is, so if the length of sidekicks is 0, then we don't have any indexes, so we need to create an index. So we're going to create an index, we're going to call it the default sidekick, and then what we're going to do is we're going to set the sidekick setting to that. So what we need to do now is say, if there is no sidekick setting, in other words, there wasn't a setting for sidekick, then we need to create one. So we're going to create one here, and we're going to call this, I think it was like, what did I say here? It's user ID, name, and value. Right? So it's Flask. Let's do this so we can read it a little bit. So this is UID equals, we'll keep those tight for now. That UID, comma, and then we need the name equals sidekick, because that's the name of the setting, and then value equals default, sublime, default sidekick dot name. Okay, so if there was no sidekick setting, else we're going to say sidekick setting dot name equals, value equals default sublime. Oh my god, default. Why did I call it that? Sidekick dot name. Okay, so this says this says there was no setting for the sidekick. So set it. Else, okay, whatever. Sublime. Else, there was a setting, set the setting to the new sidekick. Okay, so that handles if there was no sidekicks, but else what? Else. Do we want to do it on an else? Or do we just do stuff? So if there is no sidekick, we're going to create a sidekick. If there wasn't a setting for the sidekick, we're going to set it, or we're going to create it. So that's going to create, and then it's going to set it to default, the one that we just created. Else, we're just going to set the setting. Else there was a setting, and we're going to set it to the name of the new sidekick. Else there was a sidekick. So there are sidekicks. So if not sidekick setting. So in other words, there is no sidekick setting, but there are sidekicks. Then we want to get one of the sidekicks. And it doesn't really matter which one, we just need to take one of them and assign it. So then what we need to do is we need to do the create again, this thing. Yep, and then we need to set this to the, at this point we have a list of sidekicks. And so that means the length of sidekicks is longer than 0, or is bigger than 0. So then we want the value of the sidekick that we set. So I'm saying there are no settings for the sidekick. Then this is sidekicks 0, so the 0th element of the sidekicks, and the name. Yep. And then what happens if there are so then else there are sidekicks, but no settings. With setting. Alright, so then what we want to do is we want to check one is in there. Woo boy, it's getting complicated. Okay, so we have a setting. So we did get a setting back. So here we have a sidekick setting is equal to this is going to be equal to the it's going to be set to wherever it's set to. And then what we want to do is we want to check that it's inside the list of sidekicks. And if it's not, then we want to pick one and set it to it. So we basically want to do this again. Except we want to do an assignment. Oh, you know what? And we're going to do this right here. Like that. Yep. So we'll want to do that same thing here in a second. So let's see here. So we need to see if can we do an in? It can. In. Can we do an in? I don't know about that. Let's see here. Let me think about this. Could make a list of sidekicks up here. Like something like that. That's silly. So let's do this. For sidekick in sidekicks. So we're going to loop through the sidekicks and we're going to say if sidekick name in sidekick setting dot value. That's great. Else, great. Scott equals true. False. Great news is false. So then we're going to say great news equals true. So we did find it. Else. I don't even have to put an else. And then what we want to do is we want to do this. So if it's bad news, we want to go ahead and set it to sidekick setting value equals default sidekick name, but we want to do this sidekick's name right here, this thing instead, because there was no default. So we're going to say sidekick setting value equals so here the only time we're using default right here, we gotta recall it, we gotta rename this. So this is new sidekick. Is that what I want to do? I guess I want to override if not sidekick setting. Well, if this runs, then none of this runs. So it doesn't really matter. And then what you're going to end up with is a sidekick setting that's accurate. And down here, you're going to end up with a sidekick setting that's accurate. So then here, you can say, you don't need this crap. You can say, sidekick setting. Setting dot name. That should be it. Alright, let's check the logic here. So we have some settings. Hello, the index are down? Nope. Yep. Oh, not running. Oh my god, there's no errors. It's a miracle. Okay. Most of your settings follows, except there are no settings. What's going on here? Hey Siri, how much time do I have left as a cat? No answer. What's going on here? We're getting an error, aren't we? What's happening? Let me reload the page. Oh, nice. Now we got a huge error. Okay, what does this say? Why don't we have an error in here? Oh, here's the error. It says shell line 49, sidekicks equals sidekick get all. Sidekick is not defined. Of course not defined. We did not put it at the top. So we've got web models, user transactions, sidekick, and settings. All right. Let's reload this. Create got unexpected keyword name. Line 80? Doesn't look like a create. What is that in? Shell. Oh, inside create. What is it saying? Got an unexpected keyword argument name. It says settings, create. Name. 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 Why isn't it an unexpected keyword argument? Oh boy, one of these again. Exciting. It says create got an unexpected keyword argument name. You know, last time it was this, there was another one called create. But here I don't see, that's the only one named create, unless I have another settings, which has happened before. Well, alright, so I've looked for the obvious, which is that the last time I got this error, it was because I had a duplicate class in here for the database objects. But in this case, I don't see that being a problem here. So it's saying got an unexpected keyword argument name. I don't think it says specifically line 80. Calling out this one specifically, so maybe I can't do that. I don't know. Can I put something like I don't know, what can I put here? Default. I'm going back to default. I don't want to do that. Let's see here. I want to print sidekicks 0, and then I want a name like that. That's what I want. Now let's reload this. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to have to kill this PowerShell. And the reason why is because it's not scrolling, and I don't have any idea why, so I'm going to redo it. Okay, let's reload this. Sleepy Aqua Toad. I believe that's where we're printing. Right here. Well, print it again. I don't know. Let's see here. Yeah, I love toads. So that's for sure where it's printing it. I mean, there is some doubt whether or not that was where I was printing it. I mean, I put so many print statements in sometimes. So that's for sure printing that. It's not erroring out there. It's bombing on this. Okay, it doesn't look like I'm a cat anymore. Yeah, it looks like my broadcast. Let's see. I don't know. What happens to it? Let's look in OBS Studio. I'm kind of curious. The cat's just frozen. It's a frozen cat. Alright, so I'm turning that off. And then I guess I have to delete this. I have to go back to my mugshot, I guess. No, that's not what I want. There we are. No? Okay. No longer a cat, although my hair might look like a cat. I might have cat hair. I don't have a pony holder. I have COVID hair. This is crazy long. If you know me, if we've met in the past, I had short hair, so I did not have crazy COVID hair. This is as long as my hair has ever been. So I figure if I'm going to become a crazy programmer, I should have crazy programmer hair. Why not, right? Okay, like my light is a little off. I'm not going to worry about it. It'll improve when I minimize this, maybe. Alright, no longer a cat. That's good news. How are we on the stream? Where are we at? Hour and 12 minutes. Got about 45 minutes left. Woo! We just totally got off into something different, but that's okay. We're getting code written, so it's all good. Alright, so this is not, what is this doing? It says it doesn't like this. Sidekick create. I mean, what does it want me to, I mean, where else are we using that? Well, the answer is in index, which is what we were working on. So there's got to be a sidekick create in here somewhere. Here it is right here. Otherwise, create a new one. Well, that's not where we're having the error. We're having it in the settings part. So settings pi, settings create, name, value, methods, settings create, settings create. Oh, this is, oh, I'm sorry, we are having it in the sidekick. Okay. So that's an index. Otherwise, create a new one. So we're not passing it there. So we go back to shell. Let's look at this. So sidekick create. I'm being an idiot. Okay, so pay attention chord. Okay, so here there was no setting for sidekick. So create a setting. This is setting create. Settings create. Not creating a sidekick, we're creating a settings. But no settings, create a setting with the name and value and the name and value. So that's settings. Alright, so that should work now. Silly. Okay, reload this. We're still going to get an error, I can feel it. Ooh. We bombed. Context is already created for this thread. What does that mean? That doesn't sound good. Context is already created for this thread. It means it's running? I don't know. What does that mean? Context is already created for this thread Flask. I have no idea. Let me kill this. Your phone, Windows. It doesn't have anything to do with my phone. I mean, I just ran this, so I expected to do it again. Maybe. Maybe not. Jesus. Context is already created for this thread. Whoa, wait. We have something here. Oh, the context. So line 178 in models. Oh, that's because 178 models. 178 in models is with client context under create. So we can't do the create with client context. Ugh. Seriously. Well, do I have to run all this in context? I think I do because I'm like looking at the length of sidekicks here. If I take this out, I'm gonna run into problems. I'm almost positive of it. I don't really particularly like that thing, but I use it. I don't understand how it works. I mean, I do, but the way that it works is it uses the MDB stuff, wherever the hell it is. This stuff right here, it creates a client connection to this so that it's connected off to the cloud. So it's not. It's like transparently handles the communication to the database for you. None-type object has no attribute name. Where? Line 94. Oh, here. Wow, that's not good. Why is that? Well, so let's print. Can we print sidekicks here? I don't think we can. I think it's going to barf at us. Yeah, see, it says no current context. So then essentially when you do this, is it like in the context of sidekicks, if we were to print sidekicks here, we should see that this is an object, and it's an object of type sidekick, but it has keys and all this stuff. So this is like an NDB object. So we can't, without being in context, within the context, then we don't have access to it. So we can make copies of it or something like that, but we're not. So let's see. So we have sidekicks. We have Sleepy Aquatoad and Frumpy Blue Lemur. And then do we have sidekick setting? Do we have that? Oh! How about that? So then we have the sidekick, and then we have the settings. And it says the name of the sidekick is equal to Sleepy Aquatoad. So it looks like something happened. Did I set it to Sleepy Aquatoad? I don't remember. Let's set it to something else. Sleepy Dog Toad. Nothing? What's happening? Settings. Why didn't I come back? Is index offline? Oh, the index is offline. Great. Knew I was streaming. It's like invariably I always have to start the indexer sometime during the stream. Okay, I'm gonna start that. I'll be right back. Hey Siri, set a timer for 4 minutes.
Okay, your timer is set for 4 minutes.
Somebody's playing XCOM, my son. Alright, so what kind of mess have we made for ourselves here? So we should have this thing should be working again. Come on, baby. Can I not search? What's going on here? Is this locked up? Probably. There we go. So I need to get rid of those. Well, I have... Oh. Interesting. Why is it only listing one again? Oh, because I'm not listing all of them. I'm only setting the one. Do tell. There they are. Must be an error. I don't see an error. Well, what do we do to this guy? Whoops, we just closed him. Settings. Settings. This thing. What happened in here? A list of your settings follows. I mean, I have to say that I think that that's probably not JSON again. That's what I'm going with. So this thing's probably not valid JSON. Nope. Oh, for Pete's sakes. I could have seen that with my own eyes if I had bothered to look. Okay, so it's in settings, JSON, here. So what are we doing here? This is, I was fiddling around in here is what we were doing. I neglected to fix it. Okay, let's try this again. Settings. Bam! Okay, now it's working. Okay. So Sleep Dog Toad. So what happens here is I should reload this, and then it should fix it. So it should reload this page, and then it should fix it for me. or blow up. That's fine. We've got no current oh, indeed B calls must be made in context. Yes. And where is that? We've got to do it selectively. So here we can't do it. I think we can get the length. Let's try this. I don't know if I can do this. Print length of side kicks. Yep. No, that should work. Let's see here. Let's reload that. Should get the same error. Or it should tell me you can't do it. Yeah, there it is right there. So I can get the length. So getting the length is not a problem. So that's good news, because then I don't have to worry about this particular entry. I don't have to do it in client context. I can look at the length of it. And then when I call my create, and when I call create, then I'm not in client context, but I've got to be in client context here. So this is with client context here, which is sort of what I wanted. I knew I had to move it around because I couldn't put those creates in there. Got some coffee. Where are we at? I might go a little long on the stream today, so I'm just warning you now. I might go a little bit extended time on this, just because, well, I was a cat earlier, and really cats don't code very well. So now I feel better now with my coffee, and I'm not a cat anymore. All right, so with client context put, there's a blower outside and there's nothing I can do about it. Okay, so blah blah, if sidekick create news, sidekick name and sidekick settings. I think I can do this all within client context here. Like that. And I should be golden now. You know, any moment it's going to start working. Well, so does settings work? No. Why isn't settings working? Working just a second ago. So search is working. Settings is not working. Why? What does it matter? I'm on localhost. There's the problem right there. So I need to put it in double quotes. And I did all that here. I'm sorry, in shell. value here. So what I need to do here, do I need to do the, how did I do that in settings? The blower is really annoying. So I gotta do a JSON dumps because it is JSON. I forgot about that. It's like he was hovering around the window, blowing. Oh, the problem is it's been set wrong. So it needs to be set again. So I need to do settings, and then I need to do sidekick, and then I need to do delete, and then I need to refresh. And then it blows up, and it says JSON not defined, which that's fine. That's an easy one. Line 97 in shell. What happens if we reload? Yeah, that's what I did earlier. So the first time around it's not going to work. He's back. Go away. Well, that's good news. So now we can see that it's Sleepy Aquatoad. And I was thinking about, like, we need, for listing the sidekicks in the sidekick.js file, we're going to need to be able to list the sidekicks. So we can do that. We can work on that. I didn't actually think about working all this on this today, but that's what we ended up doing. It's because we were a cat. I just went completely bonkers and did this. So now we have something in here that says sidekick. This has not been changed because that's hard coded, but this thing is somewhat dynamic. So let's see what so this sidekick ID should be, let's see if we can print this. And I mean, really, that's just the name of the sidekick. Seriously, go blow somewhere else. It says sidekick. Well, that's the name. That's because it's the name. We want it to be the value. Let's see if that works. Sleepy Aquatoad. So now if we talk to this, Sleepy Aquatoad ought to, oh, we got to do something like, we can do settings. And there's Sleepy Aquatoad. Except he's quoted. And the reason he's quoted is because that's the value that got stuck in there whenever there was a JSON dumps. So we could do a JSON reads, I think. Maybe that'll fix it. Read. Oh, JSON dumps? What is it? JSON dumps and what? Seriously? Go away, blower. I've never heard it blow that much out here. Encoder and decoder. Dumps. I'm just calling attention to it. Dumps and loads. Did I do loads? Or reads? It's the blower. Cats don't like blowers. Okay. Let's try this again. Line 98. Great. Okay, so now we need to remove his name saying sidekick. That is done in the shell. And then there's literally nothing I can do about the blower. Nothing. I don't even know. I think somebody made a huge mess in the trash this morning. It's all like right there. And there's nothing I can do about it. He's blowing it all away, so whatever. It is what it is. So now we need to set this thing up here at the top. And that's done here. And what are we saying here? So it's sidekick ID. Yeah. Which is coming in from the shell handler. So here. So this sidekick ID for templates. That's it. And we still have that problem with that error cropping up, so we gotta fix that. So now it's Sleepy Aquatoad. Now in theory, now let me go get a list of my sidekicks, which I will do using the so Frumpy Blue Lemur. So I'm gonna try to set it to Frumpy Blue Lemur, and let's see what happens. Okay. I guess when I set it, it doesn't like that. I don't know what happened here. Network. I guarantee it's not going to be valid JSON. 2 commas this time. Why are there 2 commas? Am I missing something? I think, is that the comma for the last thing? Site settings. So this comma. Well, so we have a thing that says if not last. Oh, I see what happens. So we're looping through, so we're going to print a comma, and then we might print another one. But what we really need to do is we need to put this if loop last thing, this thing right here. We need to put it here to prepend it to it. All right, let's see if that works. So we'll run this again. Should get it back. Now there's no comma. Why is there no comma? If not last, what does it say? If not loop last. Is that supposed to occur outside the loop? There's no way in hell that's going to work. see there's no comma there. And the reason why before it was like, oh, you know what I can say? I know what I can do. Can I roll all this back? How far back can I go? I just want to go back to what it was. Well, that was the last time it was saved, so I think it was here. So if I do this, this will work. But the problem is if I delete my settings, it won't work. So this is all valid. This is valid. There's my comma. But then the problem is if I don't have any settings, then what you get is you get this errant comma in there. So what you really want to say is, you want to do this. You want to say if settings. So basically saying if you have settings. See how quiet it is now? It's great. End if. And yep. And then we want to run that again and see if that works. That does. You know, I don't know about this. Like, there, you know, it seems like maybe writing a library that would create something like this. You say, I want all of these things. Here's how the format I want it in, but I don't know. This template won't be touched much, but there's certainly a lot of configurations here. I mean, you're seeing here that, you know, in some cases, these things aren't here. So you need to test for that. And then in some cases, you know, you need to, I'm testing to make sure I put the comma in here. So there is that issue. So it might be better served creating it with code as opposed to a Jinja template, which is what Flask uses. But in this case, I've done this enough that I'm used to it. And I know that it's not going to get any more complicated than this, so probably. Okay, so now what I need to do is I actually need to delete these guys. It would be nice to have an X here, and I could just click on it and it would type it in for me. So maybe I'll do that later. Settings, foo, sorry, $foo, that's the, and then delete, that's the view. It says get rid of it. And then I want to delete sidekick. All right, and then I want to get my settings. And it gives me my email. And it works. We know it's working because it's working. And then if I refresh, it's going to break, right? And then if I refresh again, it'll work. And then it'll be set to the sidekick. Okay, so we need to figure out why that's breaking. So I'm going to delete the sidekick. And then we're going to refresh, and then we're going to look at the breakage. It didn't pop out here. It's kind of weird. It did it. Oh yeah, none type. None type has no object sidekick equals JSON list. Was that what just happened? None type object has no attribute value. So the first time around, it's not working. That's in shell. So the first time around, it gets down here, and that's not this thing, sidekick setting value is not set. But what is the condition by which it arrives at that? So if we delete the setting, we still have a sidekick. So we're not creating a new sidekick. But if we delete the setting, we don't have a setting. So that would be here. But then it's not running this part, it's running this part down here. So we're running here. We don't have a setting. So we're going to create a new setting, and we're going to set it to the sidekick's name, which that works. That's actually working. But then the problem is here, of course, is that we don't have we're not setting it to the sidekick setting. So this should be the sidekick setting equals, yes, that's it. Now that should work. Now if we refresh this, we knew it was working before, but this should work this time. Okay, there we go. And we want to look at our settings. And then we want to delete that settings, $sign sidekick, delete. Okay, and then we're going to refresh, and none type object has no attribute value. It's the same error on the same line. Wait. I don't know. Okay, we're going to reload. It's going to work. We're going to say settings, sidekick, delete. And we're going to refresh. We're going to break. We're going to go in here and we're going to scroll up. And it says, what? What is this? That's probably in the sidekick. That's in the setting. It's probably in the settings. I'm just going to go look at that real quick. No, I don't have a print statement in there. What I thought. I didn't have a print statement in there. What? Oh wait, I didn't save it. No. Now you can close it. Where's that print statement coming? Where's this coming from? Who knows? Okay, so, well, I mean, we're getting here. Well, let's print the sidekick setting and see what it says. So, setting dot name. No, value. And then we got to reload this. We got to delete it again. What's going on here? I'm blocking again? I guess it's every time I scroll in there. Oh, you know what? Yeah, that does work. I thought paste worked. There's not a way, like right now, there's not a way to actually select paste from the menu, but you can paste. Okay, so now I'm going to reload it again, and I'm going to get the error, and then I'm going to go over here and look, and I'm going to see what we got here. And it just says this. Okay, I'm clicking down there now, so that it will work. So this didn't print. What am I returning here in models for sidekick setting? Create. I'm returning the query. I mean, the value is, I need to do a JSON loads. Right on it, because it is JSON. Now if I run it again, I'm not going to go there. Okay, yes. And then What am I going to paste this in? Nope. This was interesting to test. I guess I could run the API to delete that. It'd be easier. Okay, so now I want to reload the page, and it's going to break again, and it says attribute none. And then I'm going to go up here, and I'm still getting this. I'm doing something completely ridiculous here. I don't know what's happening here. If I look at settings create, what if I just take this out? And I'm gonna go do what I said. I'm gonna do this. This just saves time. I mean, sometimes you have to go out of your way to do stuff. Can I just take this and delete it? This here, yeah, this one. Okay. And then I should be able to reload this as well. And this is saved. So I'm gonna track down where that print statement's coming from. It's driving me crazy. It's not in here. Oh, so that was coming from I'm gonna put a try statement here. Try. We're gonna do that. I think this is where it's barking, right? And then I'm gonna do an accept. And then I'm gonna do a actually, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do sidekick ID equals no loady. That's what I'm gonna do. Refresh. Over here, run my delete. Deleted it. I'm gonna reload this again. No loady. Which makes sense. We knew that. And then we don't have anything in here. So then now what we need to do is figure out why. Okay, so basically this thing is barfing, but whenever I was asking for it, it was not. Oh, you know what? I've got name here. I've got inconsistent. I'm doing inconsistent things with client context. Wait a minute, let me think about this. New sidekick name, but I want to do a JSON dumps to it, right? Like that. Then I want to put it. So if I'm setting the value, so I want to look for value here. So I've got value equals, yeah, so right here I want to do a JSON. The problem is that this value, let's go and look at the models. This value, well, I say that. Right, is a JSON property. So methods and JSON property, it has to be JSON. So we're having to format it going in as JSON. So setting create value. So I'm just looking everywhere that I'm touching value. Sidekick setting value equals sidekick name. Here, JSON dumps. It has to be converted to JSON. So I can't. Right now I'm just passing in. Ideally I would have made it a string, and then I could just set these things at will, and I wouldn't have to do any of this. But because it is a JSON entry, it's yeah. Anyway, I think that's what's wrong. So we're going to run this. It's going to work, presuming that we stop blocking PowerShell. Yep. And then we're going to delete it again. And then we're going to reload. And it worked. No, it didn't work. It's no loading. And now we're going to go in here and we're going to print it and see what happens. I don't understand. So right here, sidekick setting. We're gonna print that. And then we're gonna, let's see, we're gonna do this. We gotta delete. And then we gotta reload. And then we should print. It says no NDB calls must be made to content. Yep. So it doesn't want me to print that. Here. So once this with client context crap to be able to print it. Oh, wait a minute. Did I spell it wrong? Oh, holy shit. Look at that. There are 3 T's in there. I don't need to do anything else. I think it's fixed. Let's reload it. Okay, we're going to delete it. We're going to come back over here. We're going to reload again. Boom. Did it work? Sleepy Aquatoad. Say settings. Sleepy Aquatoad. I'm going to blow it away again. Success. So I'm going to ask for my settings again. There are none. Sleepy Aquatoad is still set because and Sleepy Aquatoad gets assigned again. So yes, that's it. So that's where we at. Oh man, so close. I don't know, should I extend the stream? I'm kind of on the fence about it. I kind of feel like, well, a cat was coding today, so all I have to do is edit. That sounds about right. So we really didn't get a lot of the indexing stuff done today, but that's okay. I mean, this is kind of fun. I mean, we're working on this command, the command for the settings, right? So we're working on one of the JavaScript commands, and I mean, this is just stuff that ends up cropping up and needing to be done. Let's take a look at what we ended up doing though. All in, we created all of this code. And essentially what all of this code does is it assigns. The problem that we needed to address is that now that we are able to create these sidekicks with the indexes, we need to be able to kind of toggle between the indexes. So we've now done that in the shell. So the shell now has a way to pass context into the search stuff. And that was sort of like an ancillary function to the index commands, because you need some way to be able to modify or see your indexes, see your sidekicks and stuff. And I think that means that the sidekick command is here, this guy right here. This command is the thing that then needs to be fleshed out next. And so what I'm probably going to do, it's a little bit before noon, so I think I'm going to end the stream, and then I'm going to fire up another stream right after lunch. So back in about 2 hours, and I'll finish up this one. I'll just jump right into that. I might noodle a little bit on the index endpoints just briefly before I do that, just so that I understand what needs to be done there, and we can maybe get into that, because I should be able to bang out the sidekick command pretty quickly, because it's very similar to the ones I've been doing, so I should be able to cut and paste a lot of it. But anyway, that was a little bit of an odd broadcast, but I had fun with it. I just wanted to have a little bit of fun today, coding and stuff, and cranking forward. So if you're interested in the stream or in the site, be sure and subscribe to the channel, follow, and click the notification bell. And if you have any questions or comments, you can email me at cordless@gmail.com. I'll talk to you directly. Love to hear from you. If you are thinking about using the service or are interested in using the service, you can sign up at Mitta, mitta.us. You can also just type that in front of any URL and put a slash. So mitta.us/ and then whatever URL you want. It needs to have HTTP on the front of it though. All right, you guys have a great day. I'll see you soon. I'll be back in a few hours, and have a good one, all right? Appreciate you being here. Meow.